Nearly half of Arkansas respondents approve the job Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is doing as the state's governor, resulting in the lowest approval rating for an Arkansas governor since her father, former Governor Mike Huckabee. In a new Arkansas poll published Wednesday, a survey found that 48% of state respondents approve of the job Sanders is doing as governor, while 39% of those surveyed disapprove of the job she's doing as governor. Sanders' approval rating is the lowest for any Arkansas governor since 2003, when 47% of respondents approved of the job her father was doing as governor. This is the first time the annual survey published through the University of Arkansas has polled results based on Sanders' approval rating among state residents. 61% of state respondents said the state is headed in the right direction, while 33% of those surveyed think otherwise, according to the poll. When asked about their financial concerns, 36% of respondents said they are worse off financially this year than compared with last year, with 18% of those surveyed saying their financial situation has gotten better. 45% of respondents said their financial situation has remained the same in the past year, the poll said. The poll comes nearly a year after Sanders, who previously served as White House press secretary under the Trump administration, was elected to become the state's new governor, defeating Democrat Chris Jones' gubernatorial election. Sanders, who became the first woman to serve as Arkansas governor, also gave the GOP's official response to President Biden's State of the Union address earlier this year. The Arkansas, always mix it up, was conducted from October 4th to 22 with a total of 801 respondents participating in the survey. The poll's margin of error was 3.5 percentage points. So Sanders is someone who, and every time I say Sanders, I'm always thinking of either Bernie Sanders or Colonel Sanders, but she's someone that is going to be more important, I think, as the years go by. Like, I think I'm going to say, just off of a prediction, she's either going to run for president in either 2028 or 2032, one of those two. There's no way that you're the daughter of a former governor and you just stop at being governor. She's got the same ambitions that Kristi Noem and people like that tend to have. Although I don't think she's got the chance of being Trump's running mate, because I think she would turn it down if it were offered to her, because she's only less than 1 year in her term. But it's interesting that in a state where most of the respondents are saying, oh yes, things are headed in the right direction, there's almost half of them, 45%, who are saying their financial situation has not improved at all. So in a way, I guess they're stating that while things are not necessarily getting better, they're okay with the status quo. They're fine with it as it is. And that's why this poll is kind of befuddling. Like, I don't understand how you can only have 18% say that their financial situation has improved, but then 60 something are saying, oh yeah, the state is definitely on the right track or right path. And then you have where 48% approve of her job, while 39% disapprove. And I feel like a big part of that is she's not really ambitious in any way. Like, a lot of politicians, they get elected, they talk about jobs, the economy. Maybe they'll talk about some company they're going to put the brakes on, but being governor is just, most of the time they're just sitting around doing nothing. Like, I'm not a fan of DeSantis at all, but he had a pretty impactful, or know him, but I have to admit, their terms as governors were eventful, right? You had them versus the virus, and certainly Florida's like battling Disney as well. Just there are multiple aspects of it that have some kind of like uniqueness with reference to his governance, which is one of the reasons why I think DeSantis' approval rating was so high, because he was an active governor. As far as I can tell from Sanders, she doesn't really have any true ambitions besides just being a placeholder. I mean, the most I heard about her term was that she was banning the terms Latinx from being used in official state language, or some kind of little, nonsense. It's like, stuff like that doesn't improve anyone's life. And when you're the chief executive of the state, you would think that would be your main concern, which is improving the quality of lives of your residents. So she's someone who's probably going to get reelected in, what is that, 2026, because her, it's Arkansas, it's a red state. They're going to vote for the Republican, even if they're a rotted corpse. But it is interesting that she has the lowest approval rating of any governor in that state since her dad. And then you think to yourself, that's the most fascinating part about these political dynasties in America, because when you look at it outwardly, you say, okay, this person is the son, daughter, brother, whatever, of this other person who's not really that popular. But then they still end up winning anyway. It's like you look at the Republicans. 2000, you have McCain running against Bush, and even though his dad was a president that, I mean, I liked him, but he had one term, left office defeated. His son was still able to coast off of his daddy's name to become governor, first of Texas, and then president after that. So I think Sanders is kind of running a similar thing where, um, I'm betting she's gonna spend most of her term just kind of coasting, and then after that she'll run for president and get like 2%, just like her dad, because they're both not really charismatic in any capacity whatsoever. And it's a lot easier to get elected statewide than nationwide, I can tell you that. And a lot of these like boring, droll, just very unambitious people, unfortunately, take the reins of power, and the citizens suffer for it. And I really do hope the residents of Arkansas are able to survive for tenure, because it looks like it's going to be at best a snooze fest and at worst a catastrophe.